Hi everybody, my name's Alan. On behalf of Wistancia, my co-host and the crew of the show, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. Again, we have a really wonderful show tonight, and it's just packed full of just inspirational and just wonderful, wonderful things tonight. We have songs and channelings, and we know that if you stay tuned, you'll really enjoy it. So please stay tuned, and I just want to turn it over to Wistancia to do the invocation and the lead us in a meditation, because we really have a lot to do tonight, and we want you to share it all with us. So Wistancia?
Thank you, Alan. Okay, so maybe you can just relax with me and let go of all the thoughts and all the feelings that we've had until this time, and come into a focus. And we call forth now the beloved ones from the higher realms. We call forth the angels to come and be with us, to come and move into our hearts and into this room, into this space. And we call the ascended masters to come and work with us, the beloved ones who teach us the way of ascension, the way of raising our consciousness, who mirror to us our growth and our lives, the patterns of our lives. And we also call forth to the energy of the great Elohim, who are the builders of form, who are the creators of the worlds. For we are in our lives now creating our own destinies, creating our lives through our thoughts and our feelings, and we need their inspiration. And we call forth the nature spirits also to come forth and teach us lightness and joy and help us. And also tonight, in this season before Christmas, I'd like to call forth the Christmas angels, and also make a special invocation to the office of Christ, that somehow tonight we can all come a little bit closer into our own Christ potential, to birth the Christ consciousness on the earth. But this is our job. This is what Sananda seeded in this earth, in our consciousness, in the collective 2,000 years ago. And so tonight, we ask, and I send out a prayer to Father, Mother, God, for all of us to come and stand on this earth with power, to come and stand on our own 2 feet and take the steps toward wisdom and love and power, and ask for the remembrances to come into us, so that we can see ourselves as we truly are, who we are in our greatness, in our divinity, and bridge heaven and earth, while in this body, while in these years before the end of the cycle. And so we ask to feel the love, and to love ourselves, and to see how great, how beautiful, what an opportunity and a challenge this time is. And so maybe we can all just sort of take a breath together with our guides and our masters, calling forth the body elementals to stand on this side, also in our guardian angels to be with us tonight, here now, and go into the silence together and send our light into the earth, and send our light into our hearts, and allow it to come from the heavens and from the earth in a 2-way direction, bringing the light into the heart and then grounding it up and down, as above, so below. And then just going into silence together. Thank you. And now I'd like to start off our show with the beautiful songs of Abigail. And we're going to have a song right now by Abby. She's been on our show before. Welcome back, Abby. And the name of the song is Down Under. And so whenever we're ready, we'll get ready for Abby with Down Under.
Well, I was washing my hands from the blood of a fruited tree, and I looked into the water, saw a doctor looking back at me. So I looked to the right and the left, and I found it was only I. And I reached into the water, to the daughter, and took a dive. Dive down under, to where you gotta find your own roots, through the water. Well, I was loving a man like a love wants a lover to be, but I looked into the water, saw a lover looking back at me, and I knew that it wasn't a man, and I knew that it wasn't a she, and I knew within the water was a lover waiting there for me. Love, 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 dive down under, to where you gotta find your own route, through the water. Love, love, dive down under, to where you gotta bring your own light, to see the wonder. Well, I was feeling quite grand, and I felt like the water was home. And my guardian spoke, "You're very right, but you're moving on your own." So I reached for the daughter's hand, and I felt like I wasn't afraid. And we swam up to the very top, to my home where my temple lay. Love, love, dive down under, to where your body you must leave, to the water. Love, 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 dive down under, to where you gotta bring your own light, to see the wonder.
Well, I'm sitting here with our guest tonight, and her name is Dr. Verna Yater, and this is her. This is she. And really, I was reading all the information on you, and I was astounded. You are a busy person.
Yes, I am.
You do so many things. I mean, I was I said, okay, shall we talk about the books that you've written? Shall we talk about the lectures, all the workshops? You do year-long workshops, 17 years of channeling and all the healing, and I was like, it was amazing to me. Is there one aspect of it that is your favorite, that you really, it's like your baby or something that you really like?
Well, I am very delighted with the year-long programs that I'm doing right now, because what I have found over the years was that sometimes I would watch people really begin to do their work and to do a lot of soul growth. And then they would reach a certain space, and either it was getting too difficult, or it was getting too close to karmic connections, or too close to some kind of authenticity, and they would stop. And what I find with these year-long programs is that it really is a way of supporting people to keep going through thick and thin, and through ups and downs, and through the depths of their souls.
You mean that when people start going through their real deep releases and processes, that you get to be there with them, almost like to birth them. I see you like almost like a midwife carrying them through the whole year, because that's a long time. Because a lot of times people work with somebody and then they're through.
That's true.
And maybe they'll call them, but that's really an undertaking for you to be involved in their lives for a year.
Well, it's often longer than that, because once they find that they've done a year, it's so intriguing that now some of the people are coming back for their third time. And it is quite a process of discovery, and the idea of birthing is probably a very good description of it. And I think that we're all in the midst of birthing and rebirthing, because Spirit has really told us that we haven't had such opportunities for the last 53,000 years.
It's a long time, too.
And it is a very long time, and that we haven't had that depth of opportunity of soul growth. And so those of us that are here at this particular time right now, we have a chance of many lifetimes to go where we need to go and to do what we've actually come to the planet to do. And that's a lot of discovery and rediscovery.
Absolutely.
So it's thrilling. It's thrilling to watch.
So here you are
people
doing all this work for people, and you've been channeling for 17 years and bringing all these insights and wisdom to people. Where are you right now? Where do you see yourself? What is your challenge right now? Is there something
I have
Verna's working with?
Well, yes, I'm kind of rebirthing too, actually. I'm at the start of a new 30-year cycle that started in March of this year. And I believe that it's the most exciting cycle that I've been through. And what I'm going through is birthing through a new musical career. I'm going through the birthing of artistry. I'm going through birthing of really working on a global level and helping people to move through the transition of what they've come to the planet for. And so it's a very, very exciting time for me personally as well. I am spending a lot of time near the Blue Mountain Center, which is located near Colorado Springs. And this is one of the 12 sacred citadels that has been designated by Spirit to be major centers where people can go to heal themselves, where they can go to come into another level of their being during this time of transition on the planet. So it's a very exciting place, one that I was led to in 1978, and where we've been conducting classes since 1986. And so it's very, very exciting. Actually, we're speaking here in Santa Barbara, and Santa Barbara is part of that energy of the transition.
Do you live here in Santa Barbara?
I live here in Santa Barbara. I've been a commuter to Colorado Springs for about 8 or 9 years, and now I'm going to start commuting in the opposite direction. Because my moon is in Sagittarian, is in Sag, and I really can't stop traveling.
Yeah, I understand. You go all around the world.
I do.
Yeah.
I have people from Australia. I have a really strong connection with Western Australia. And I have that connection partly because of the transition of the earth changes as well. And there are sacred citadels in all of the different parts of the world, and Western Australia is also a very strong and important one. I have a very strong connection to France myself, and really in the Pyrenees and the south of France is where the most important citadel is to be built, and the energy is just starting to come into connection there, and that will be the European headquarters. And so it's just, to me, it's a very exciting time. It's a time of such possibility on the planet.
Absolutely. It's also a challenging time for people, you know, where a lot of people are facing their fears, really growing up in spirit, and coming into their spiritual bodies, and kind of like, you know, like the show, kind of bringing the physical and the spiritual together and facing the concepts. So I mean, a lot of people, I get phone calls, you know, every day from people who are having difficult times also amidst all of this. So
of course.
It's an interesting time for all of us.
It is. It's a challenging time, and when you say that people are either developing or they're shriveling. And when Spirit says that 2/3 of the planet will be destroyed, I mean, this is a concept that's a kind of overwhelming one. And when this was first presented to me back on April Fool's Day, as a matter of fact, of 1980.
How do you know they weren't kidding?
Yeah, well,
Those Spirit are real jokers.
They are jokers. But when that whole concept was first presented to me, it is a little bit overwhelming. Mm-hmm. But yet, I think that this is such a time of, this isn't a time to really be afraid or fearful, although that aspect is coming up in a lot of us. But it's really a time for personal spiritual transition, and a time of being able to meet our karmic conditions that we may have had for many, many centuries. And if we've come in with a lot of bag of karma, this is just a chance to go through it in a way that we have never gone through it before.
I know for myself, when I have these challenges, and I do have them, I do a lot of work, a lot of transformational work, and then I meet, you know, a lot of kind of difficulty, sometimes reliving some of the pain, or just like clearing. Yes. A lot of clearing. I feel like I'm clearing all my lives in this lifetime. I've been told that that's what you're doing, you know, all the past life. So it's kind of like turning and embracing all those incarnations. It's a responsibility, well, you know, and it feels like such also. It feels like that. It feels like so. I have to remind myself that this is a celebration, Estancia, even if it feels a little bit hard today, you know, sometimes. But this is a celebration, you know, and I do feel like, I mean, and probably you'll agree, that our thoughts and our feelings have so much to do with the outcome on this planet, you know, and so that we can change that 2/3 if we're all more in our wisdom, more in our understanding, and in our power balanced with love. We can maybe change that 2/3 number.
You know, that's not even the important element, changing the number.
It is for 2/3.
No. The other third.
Well, actually, it isn't, because some people have given themselves an opportunity to remain on the planet and to work.
And some people choose not
to. And to some people have given the opportunity to make a transition and to work from the spirit side. Right. So it really isn't as... you know, we've asked about New York or places like that. It really has nothing to do with whether New York stays or whether California stays. It really has to do with the opportunities that people take and the attitude that they have and the possibilities that they grab for soul growth. Because ultimately, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we've all been around so many times, you know, that we've had the riches and we've had the poverty and we've had the sadnesses, and that's not what it's about. It's all about soul growth.
Yeah, but to be here now, though, right at this time when we're on the brink, I mean, I can feel the dimensions folding in, the fourth dimension coming in. I can see it, and I ask, you know, that the veils be lifted at this time. We can all really see more of what's coming, because we are in a shift. Oh. It's so pretty. So for me, it's like I want to be here. Sure. I want to be here to witness it and be part of it, you know, and I do understand that there are some who may choose not to.
Sure, and that's fine. It's really just fine. I mean, one of the things about working, of course, with spirit is also seeing that continuity of life after life. And I know that many people have come to me because they've been concerned about people that have crossed over and those that they were closest to. And when you do a lot of work with spirit, yes, of course, our third dimensional life seems beautiful, and we can become quite attached to what's around us, especially if we live in a beautiful place like Santa Barbara. And we can become quite attached to each other. But yet, when you watch the continuity and when you look at the continuity of your own lives and some of the things that you've witnessed, and then you see the it's almost like the dolphins coming in and out. I mean, we don't transition as quickly as the dolphins do, and they're doing it out of a sense of magnificence and giving their energies back to the planet. But we're still always transitioning, even if we're in the spirit side for 100 years, before we come back in again. It's just the continuity is fabulous to observe.
Yeah.
And this has been one of the things I think that I've appreciated in the work of channeling and going into those other realms, and sometimes even walking other people through into the other side and seeing the beauty and the magnificence of it. Of course, we can forget that in our everyday lives and get a little muddled in the material aspect of it, or get muddled into the third dimension.
So you're a trance channel.
Yes, I am.
And you will be channeling for us a little bit later. And I just want to tell our audience that she is a trance channel, and maybe you can just talk a little bit about how that happened, how that started. You are not present. In other words, like, I'm a conscious channel. I know what's going on and I can talk about it afterwards. You don't have, is this true? I haven't experienced your kind of channeling. You aren't aware of what the entity, what the being that's speaking is really actually. You go somewhere else. Is this right?
Well, I actually don't go anywhere else. I'm actually merging with the consciousness of the entities that speak through me, and the entity that speaks through me most frequently is Indira Latari. Indira is an East Indian, and she's both very philosophical as well as very pragmatic. I mean, she has worked with law firms and helped people in a very pragmatic sense, but also is very...
Did she bill at the law firm rate?
well, I don't think they could. It
didn't work that way.
It didn't quite work that way for her, no.
So when you go in and you do this consulting work with businesses, you actually go in and channel for these in business meetings?
I have channeled actually in business meetings, but I do more of an intuitive type of thing when I'm working with them, or do aspects of consulting that are more geared toward where they would give me a challenge, and then we would just ask Spirit about it and we take back the answers to them. Or they would come and pose questions in that particular regard. But it's a fascinating process, and you asked me how it first started. When I was living in Montecito, I was actually living down the road from a medium who was trained in England, and I was talking with a woman, and she said, well, you really ought to go and see so-and-so, and gosh, I had no idea what a medium was at that time or what a channel was. And I really wasn't intrigued either with wanting to know. But she kept talking and going on. And finally I wrote his name down and I said, well, yes, I'll have to do that sometime. And, but I had no intentions of doing it. And finally she picked up the phone and she said, you know, I think I'll just make an appointment for you. And, so she got on the phone and she said, oh, good. She said, I got you an appointment for June 30th. His prices are going up on July 1st. And so I thought, well, you know, I can always cancel this. What a deal. I don't know what I'm doing anyway. And I went back to my office, and there were two other women there, and one said that she had just done this and how fabulous it was. And the other one said she'd always wanted to do it. So now I didn't only have his old price, but I had somebody else to share it with. But one of the things that happened, and that I think sometimes happens when clients come to see me now, is that if something very pragmatic is given to them, then they also listen to the deeper philosophical instruction that Spirit gives. But one of the first things that he did at that time was to talk about and describe my grandfather's chair. Now, I'm from a German family, and you know, grandma and grandpa and mother and father, they all have their own chairs, and you don't sit in those chairs. Those are their chairs. And he very thoroughly described those chairs, so I was a little bit intrigued.
Right.
And
You knew something out of the ordinary
I
was
knew
going
that
on.
something was going on as he described these. And then he spoke about my two sons, and you know, he did like this, how very different they were one from the other, which is very true. And then he spoke almost right away about my own developing mediumship, and he said that Edgar Cayce was standing by my side until such time that my own healing would have developed. Well, of course, I didn't know who Edgar Cayce was at that time, only one of the most famous psychics that ever lived, and I spelled his name C-A-S-E-Y, and went to non-metaphysical bookstores. Cayce at the bat. So went to non-metaphysical bookstores to try to get information about him. And I was actually squeezed in going back there again in 6 weeks. Now, I know this happens to people a lot. They're squeezed into doing certain things because it's going to get them somewhere.
Right, destiny kind of moves them.
Yes, that's true. And so 6 weeks later, I was back there again. And they said that I hadn't, read anything about Cayce. And I only had this stack of books. And when I went to look at them, I really hadn't read about him. I'd read the things that he had channeled. And, they gave me some more information about the types of healing that I would be doing, which has all unfolded over the last 17 years.
Did this teacher end up being your teacher and taught you how to channel?
No.
No,
I really did most of my, I suppose that most of my instruction has come from spirit and still does. Although I have had some wonderful mentors along the way and wonderful colleagues that have supported me in many, many ways and still do.
So when we come back, we're going to have another song from Abigail. And when we come back, the audience will get a chance to see you go into a channeling state.
Right.
And Indira will talk to us, hopefully, and I would like to request that some of the angelic tones or the singing, the light songs be brought forth for the healing of our audience when sitting here, us, and everyone watching. So maybe we can just get ready for Abigail singing her second song. What is it?
It's called Fresh Banana.
Okay.
So Abby, when you're ready, take her away.
Yesterday the trees will splash, the waves will billow. Tomorrow the leaves will prancing upon my pillow. And today's hanging to dry upon the tree. When I know a little story, I'll have to wait. Well, okay, I guess I'll tell you and make you brave. Summer's burning all my trees that held today. Oh, that's not okay. But my future is so happy with the present life has given. Unlimited happiness. Unlimited happiness. Yes, my future is so happy with the present life has given. Unlimited happiness. Unlimited unlimited happiness. Well, tomorrow all the trees are getting stronger. Yesterday the waves probably won't last much longer. And at least I have today to hold upon. Oh, yeah, it's gone. But my future is so happy with the present my past gave it. Unlimited happiness, all of you, unlimited happiness. Yes, my future is so happy with the present my past gave it. Unlimited happiness, unlimited happiness. Yesterday the tears will splash, the waves will get on at night. Tomorrow the leaves will prancing upon my pillow at night. And today's hanging to dry upon the tree. Like me.
Thank you, Abigail. That was beautiful. Okay, now we're really privileged to have Verna's going to go into a trance state and do some channeling. So I'd like you to see it happening. So if we can have a close-up on Verna and have her going into the trance state, and then we'll have some channeling. So please pay close attention.
Okay, I'll be doing a prayer, and then I'll be sinking away as if I'm going into meditation, but I'll be sinking more deeply, and I'll be making connection most likely with Indira, who is an East Indian who last crossed into the spirit realm in 1850. So I will leave you for a few minutes and allow Indira to enter your presence. We ask that just here and just now that all the conditions and circumstances that we need in order to do our best and highest work be present, and that all other conditions and circumstances be removed. We acknowledge that we're constantly surrounded by the forces of light and love and wisdom, that we're so surrounded here today and that nothing else may enter. We ask also that all the forces of healing be here and that each of us receive total and complete healing on all levels of our being. And in God we trust. Amen. This is Indira, and I am most pleased to be welcoming you here upon this day. We want to tell you that we are quite delighted with the opportunities that are being expressed and the manner in which many upon your earth plane are responding to these elements of transition and of elevation of the consciousness. And there we will see also that soon there are not only the expansion of the consciousness name, but also of those elements in which there will be the opposing forces. And so hence there will also be those levels of ignorance and darkness that shall also be brought forth. But be not at all dissuaded from that which is of your own highest elements, just in this particular timing. And you will see that there will be many alterations yet within those that are also of your consciousness, but also much of the alterations upon the earth plane herself. For Mother also is undergoing many changes, not only those that live upon Mother, but there you will find that these alterations are important in many respects. There will yet also be many important technological changes, which shall partly survive those other aspects of the earth plane. But there will also be the reappearance in many places of many from our side that will be witnessed in accordance with their own consciousness. But at any date, how is it that we might serve you upon this time, please?
Well, first of all, we'd like to welcome you. We're very glad that you're here with us.
Well, it's a delight. And by the way, I'm not coming all by myself.
And who's with you?
Well, there are many from the spirit side, but there are those that come as the Council of 12. They will not be speaking with you directly, but it's a little bit as if they wanted to tell you that they're looking over your shoulders. Because they are part of those that are of the management, if you want to call, of the domain of your planet. And so they're quite intrigued with all that you do, particularly with the technology of broadcast. Well, of course, when it is that you spread things through the telepathic communication, you don't need all of your large pieces of equipment, but they do come in handy, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Indeed.
And what did the Council of 12 say about this time, this approaching time that we call the shift of the ages, or the new age, or the ascension times? What do they?
Well, the ascension times, there's always ascension times, you see. From the first time that anyone seeded this planet, there have been ascension times, yea. It's just a bit of a quickening at this time. So you feel it a little bit more in your bones, you feel it in your ears, you become dizzy at times, and you have throbbing in your heads, and don't worry over it. It's just that your own vibrations have to become synchronized to the higher vibrations that surround and interpenetrate you. But as far as the council speaking, no, not so much speaking, but conveying what they're notating is that there will be a lot of interaction with others from other planetary dimensions, of which you are perhaps cognizant. But this will be also that there will again be some of those that want to do a bit of mischief from other planets, and just to become cognizant of that, and you'll become quite aware of the different types of vehicles, or so-called vehicles, but there are many ways in which there is the interaction of the consciousness from other planetary domains, not just through the vehicles, more through the consciousness that's being beamed or beaconed. Because long before there was what some persons determined to be a crisis on the planet, there have been the capacity and capability of interacting with other planetary dimensions. You'll find that this will be more again recovered as well. But also there will be the influences of spirit going into your governmental affairs. About time, isn't it? And there will also be the beaconing of light, although it is free will, into those areas and arenas of fighting upon the planet. Because if some of the souls were only to become cognizant of what they know already within themselves, there would be a lessening of that intrigue. But at any date, we have them over here on that side, just beaconing and beaming energy to you, really, is what they're doing.
Can you talk a little bit about just how it is that, you know, humankind can bring about more of the soul memory, more of our remembrance of who we are and what we are and how divine we really are? Because I feel like that's important.
Well, yes, you're asking several questions at
Yes, I am.
once, but it's, of course, it's of dire importance. Well, to remember your second part, the aspect of your divinity, it's just to recognize that God resides within you. And there, when you ask, and you are quite well self-assured, it is already so. And although we understand that many persons that are watching at the moment will say, no, I have asked many times and it has not happened for me yet. Well, we just encourage you, because it is ask and knowing ye shall receive. It's the knowing element that many persons delete, and hence that is not quite the manifestation that they had anticipated or had hoped for. But as to the memories, well, there are many ways. You can stimulate your own brain stem or the upper portion of it, and you'll have memories. All of you will absolutely, without fail, have memories, to understand. But you can also give yourself permission to relax and ask a question or two, and perhaps there will be some insights that will come to the surface. You can use sounds of various types to leave a bit of the conscious mind behind, and also therefore remember. You can go to certain locations that you are drawn to, and you can be certain that definitely you'll have some remembrances, because if you're drawn to them, it's also a signal that perhaps you have already been ensconced there, you see? But memory is important because you have come back again into this particular life already having experienced many things, but you want to take the veil away so that you can have the benefit of all these many times that you've come around as an old soul or as a young soul or whatever, and have the experience recreated for you, you see?
Yes, thank you, Indira. Indira, is it possible for you to share with us some of these, the angelic tones, some of the angelic songs or tones that I read about, that comes through the channel?
Yes, we can, this day perhaps we'll share with you more of the magnification of the simple sounds, the pure sounds themselves. And you can use them for your own healing of the self, of the soul, of aspects of your being. You need not do anything in particular except to be present, because they will resonate within the entirety of your being, and they will stay with you for many months to come. I'll step aside as this is occurring to my channel's right, and so it's only to listen to the sounds being magnified.
It's very peaceful, very beautiful. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. And so still feel the rays of light resonating around me.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Do you feel different than before you went in, right now, say?
Oh, yes, very much so. And
How would you describe it?
well, expanded and peaceful, and sometimes it picked up on camera because there's an expanded energy around me. Yeah, definitely.
I do too.
How would you describe, how would you use the word love in, the way, in your conception of things?
Well, I would see that as an energy that's unconstructed, that flows constantly in the universe, not necessarily our
Right.
conscious idea of clutching or attachment, but a continual flow of energy, unattached energy.
Would you define, the life force energy in a human being as that?
You could define it that way. And of course, some people emanate a whole lot of that. And some people emanate a whole lot less of it.
What do you think causes that?
Well, I think that our thoughts hold part of that key. Also, the stresses that we bring in already from other lives. Illness, which is uncenteredness of some kind or another, will
Disharmony
lessen.
of some
Yeah,
kind.
right. Will lessen what we have available to us.
Would you say that the way you define love and people's understanding and conception and experience of love, the way you defined it, is it important for a human being?
Well, yes, because expanding our energy and allowing our energy to tap into the entire cosmos is very, very important.
I think that would be a value.
And I think that's a
I would
value
probably-
for everybody.
Right.
And we do, again, we forget that, but we're automatically tapping into it
Well,
to some
in
degree.
a sense, we're made of that, but we forget.
That's correct.
Right.
But it's important that we keep that at the forefront.
Right. Right. So, and the tools you do are all the kind of tools you mentioned to keep that in the forefront?
Well,
I mean, that's what the workshops are about.
Sure,
And that's what
yes, keeping it in the
all
forefront.
the tools of of the human condition, keeping that recognition right as close to the reality and the surface as possible, right?
I don't even think of it so much as tools, as becoming increasingly aware, our consciousness becoming,
Right, I know what you mean. Kind of rubbing up against the magnet, and we become more like that.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's have one more song
Intriguing.
from Abigail. What's this one called? Step Inside. Now, that's a good
That's a
thing.
good one. We just did a little bit
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, Abigail.
Let's step inside for the ride of a lifetime. Let's walk inside for the light of the nighttime. Gonna step inside. Ooh, oh. Inside. Ooh, oh. Let's step inside for the ride of a lifetime. Let's walk inside for the light of the nighttime. Gonna step inside. The innocence is beckoning you. Come along inside and finish what you wanted to do. if you do, then you see lights in the sky, in disguise, and you will know it was not just your eyes. Let's step inside to the place of your dwelling. Come up the ride, for your plane is preparing. Gonna step inside. You know it's what you really wanna do. Come along inside and make this place so pretty and new. And if you do, then you see lights in the sky, in disguise, and babe, you know it was not just your eyes looking out. Gonna step inside. Your journey can take you far. In your eyes are glowing stars. Count the stars of who you are. Some are near and some are far. Let's step inside for the ride of a lifetime. Come take a ride through the night with your lights on. Gonna step inside. Ooh, come along inside.
So here we are back again. Thank you again, Abby. Bless you for coming.
That was really wonderful.
I know, that was perfect because when the toning was going on, I just completely went into another level inside me, and then she sang that, and here we are, bridging heaven and earth. So I'd like to turn it over to Verna for a moment or so, for a few minutes, to talk maybe about what can you say to humanity. You know, here you are, maybe some last minute a message, something in the heart.
I think it's just so important for us to take advantage of the opportunities that we have right now. Also, especially at this time of year, to give ourselves permission to take in the light. Not that it isn't always available to us, but it's just being magnified right now on the planet. And so we have so much opportunity just even to tune in momentarily and even to ask. I mean, we forget the
in between shopping.
Right, we forget the obvious.
Right.
It's simply to ask for the energy to go through us, to ask that there be healing for the conditions that we have, to ask to steer us on the correct path of everything that we've come to do. Asking is an absolutely important opportunity that we have, and we don't always necessarily take advantage of it. I think it's very...
We have to slow down enough to remember what we want, really, I think.
Well,
and then we can ask. We just move into
sure. The slowing down is just... doesn't always necessarily mean that we have to have an enormous amount of time, because we can slow it down right in the middle of hustle and bustle. I know that I do that a lot. There's a special beach scene that I have that I remember myself running down that beach in Florida many, many times, because it just will slow me down into the center of my
being. Here in
being.
Santa Barbara, we have the ocean and the mountains that are just so awesome.
Yeah.
That they do that. You and I live on the same street. You're not here that often.
Yes, but
your houses are the same
sure.
street. It's really beautiful there.
So we
You're not
do.
here that much.
Well, I'm here in spirit in Santa
Right,
Barbara
right.
very many times.
That's why I
and
moved on to that street. It was a high street.
It is a high street, isn't it?
It is a-
But it's just an opportunity, I think, right now to heal ourselves, to keep moving to the massive fronts that we have. God, what an opportunity it is on the planet right now to be alive, isn't it?
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's very exciting.
I hear people, lambast this planet and to say that they want to move on, and
I want to be here. I want to be here.
Yeah,
with
but
this time, such a celebration.
this is the time to be on this
Well,
planet.
thanks for coming.
Thank
I think
you
it was
so
a really
much.
wonderful
So
show.
glad to have been here.
And I'd
Yeah.
like to just wish everybody a beautiful, beautiful time, season, Christmas. Really open the heart. Let's really move into ourselves.
We have in 2 weeks. We have a wonderful show. Kim Robertson is coming on. She's a world famous in class
Harpist.
Celtic harpist, and she's wonderful. She's beautiful. So please join us saying good night. Good night to everybody. Thank you for coming.
God bless you.
Bye bye now.
Okay.